We'll get started right now, Mr. Superintendent.
All right, Mr. Chairman, you can see today we have 3 agenda items. The first one is construction updates. So I'll ask Mr. Hubbard to update us on construction.
Said it before, I'll say it again, it is a good thing that we do not have a time factor on this one. The rain has been awful. But masons did work last week, worked yesterday. They finished the exterior walls yesterday. So all the exterior walls and the door frames are installed. They're about a third of the way through on the interior. All the door frames are in. I think we got 50-50 chance, maybe a little better, that they finish by the end of the week. If not, it'll be the early part of next week. And then the steel should be coming in next week for the bar joist and the roof deck. That comes in, we dry this thing in, and then time doesn't become an element anymore. The other thing in here is one picture down the lower left is the plumbing risers, and those are complete. So once the plumbers will work around those to install the interior walls, and then after that we get it dried in, then we put pedal to metal, and a bunch of different contractors can be working at the same time. Still looking before the end of the year. I optimistically thought it would be Thanksgiving-ish, probably Thanksgiving in between Christmas, but we should have it in and dried in and secure and climatized by the time the real rough stuff comes in January, February. So it'll be here, plenty of time for testing, but just not as quick as we originally thought it was.
Okay. Next we have review agenda. So we'll flip over to these are 2 Thursday nights meeting. All right, let's go through the meeting here. We have call to order, invocation, pledge of allegiance, our consent agenda, approve agenda, public comment, and then let's drop down to financial report. Y'all can tell I'm right. Miss Chastity was supposed to be here, she's not.
You want splost or financials?
Let's start with financials. And let's look at local sources. Right now we're at 1% versus 0% for this time last year. Our total revenues were 7% versus 7%. Our total expenditures were 16% versus 16%. And we've completed 16.66% of the fiscal year. So with that said, we are under budget. This is a tight budget, good budget. So we are in healthy financial shape, Mr. Chairman, and I'd ask the board approve it at Thursday night's meeting. Let's look at our SPLOST. You can see that this month we collected $397,871.07. I was a little disappointed because that was below $400,000. That seems to be our norm here lately, but I will tell you this, there was only one time in 2006 during the month of September that we had collected more than that, and it was just a shade more. I will tell you this, when you compare us to other counties that we watch, Gilmer, Union, and Pickens, we're well ahead of them. We used to be either third or second, it didn't matter, or sometimes even fourth. So we are on track right now to collect $20,217,155.29. There was a time when I never would have thought that we would project over 20 million. So our SPLOST is humming along, and we owe no interest on it at all. Student success in the balance. This is going to be a presentation. You want to talk about it?
Let's just wait to Thursday if that's okay.
This is a presentation that our finance director wants to bring the board up to speed on some of the things that are going on in the state as far as funding of education is concerned. And next has to do with our capital funding from the state. Art, you want to talk about this a little bit?
Every year we get, based on our 5-year facility plan, they give us a little bit of money for facilities. It's not nearly enough to do everything we want to do, but occasionally we put in an application to get some of that money. It's kind of like a custodial account for your 12 or 13-year-old. It's in the bank, but you got to ask permission to get it back. We put an application in for a lot of the things we were eligible for, but we've modified that and we're asking the board for permission. Several things we took out that the girl who is the person that I've been talking to down there, I met her at Pioneer Risa several months ago and asked her a question about whether some of these things could be reimbursed from the state without an architect. Gave me kind of a nebulous answer, and by doing some checking, the answer is no. That unless there's an architect involved in signing off on it, they don't give us any money. Well, if you look at some of those items, a telecommunication system, we opted not to do VoIP over the internet because ETC can put one in cheaper. And the subsidies for VoIP, which made it very attractive, in 2 years are going away. And the cost to house those goes up through the roof. So over the next 5 and 10 years, traditional phone service right now is still our best bet. Door replacements, don't need an architect to tell me that. Painting walls, don't need an architect for that. One of the items down there, new windows. All of the elementary schools have newer portions and older portions. The newer portions, very easy, block walls. I'm getting those windows replaced with some companies. If they do a good job, then we'll go talk to them about the rest of the school. The older wings, if you've ever been in them, the entire side of them is glass. It will be an enormous amount of money to redo those. So I want to make sure I've got good subcontractors in place. When I do those, because there will be a structural component, I will get an architect involved and we will ask for some money. But if you bring an architect in at 6%, you bring the CM at risk, like Levy Benefield, construction manager, 7 to 9, 10%, and the architect's going to spec the job 20% more than it's worth. So we're saving money by doing this, and it's just staying in the piggy bank, and then we're kind of picking our spots where we think it's most advantageous. A new roof at West Fannin, we'll ask for money there. Yes, sir.
The guidelines for these are very different than SPLOST funds.
These it's a capital project, so these are all eligible for SPLOST. But what we're doing now is we've already got that money accrued. We've got money that the state will give us, so we're just asking for a portion of it now.
If you'll recall, Mr. Reese, we earn money from the state for capital projects. And that's how we used to pay for things before we had SPLOST.
That's all we had before SPLOST.
Correct. That in the local budget.
Yes.
Right.
But do you have to have an architect for SPLOST?
No.
All the SPLOST?
No. So this is state money. So kind of like when you're asking your parents for something, there's always more strings attached to it, and if you earn it yourself. But some of these things, painting, the price would triple if I had to bring an architect in. We've got a local painter who goes in on weekends and evenings when students aren't there. It's less intrusive. Same thing with the phone systems, door replacements, same thing. We replace them as we need them rather than having to replace everything at one time. So for a lot of reasons, and we keep the money local rather than hiring somebody out of town, it's beneficial to us. But the items in this resolution were on our initial request. We've pulled them off. So basically you're looking at the toilet renovations in the old wing at Blue Ridge, the roofing on the old wing at Blue Ridge, and then the roofing on East Fannin. Those would be the net projects that we're asking for money from the state.
So SPLOST really has hidden benefits that we don't know.
Yeah, we paid up front, and now they're giving us a little bit back, is what it amounts to.
And, you know, the state funding for capital projects is very, very small, and it's limited in the way you can use it. I forget how many years, you know, we paid for the middle school that, if you remember, it was almost like making payments. You didn't get your state money. They withheld the amount of the cost of the middle school. I forget how many years that was. But
It was between 15 and 20, I think it was 17 or 18 years before we started accruing the money back. Basically, we got an advance on our allowance, and we just paid it back out of those dollars over the course of 15 years or so.
So, you know, honestly, I don't know how school systems doesn't have SPLOST. I don't know how they would make it with the cost of improvements and those types of things that are out there. You know, we want to, as always, be good stewards of taxpayers' money. We're going to use the dollars that we have available to us. That's why we're always thinking about how we can use that state pay that they send out to us on a yearly basis. So that's kind of what we're doing, and we kind of play it off the SPLOST to see which one will work better. But that's what we're doing with this. So on Thursday night, we'll ask you to approve that resolution, and we'll send that back out to the state. And then we've got certification, project completion. I'll let Mr. Chairman talk about this too.
Basically, this is the final piece we need to get that money from the state. We need to send this down to them. There's a resolution for the renovation at Blue Ridge, removal of the asbestos and the re-roof, and then another one from Blue Ridge, the restroom renovation. Both of those the state will consider a single project. The architect has already signed off that the job is complete, everybody's been paid, and it was done according to their specifications. This is the board's testament that that has been complete. We've got one for the Blue Ridge restroom and roof, and then there's another one right below this that'll be the East Fannin roof. Once the board attests to it, we send it down, and then they'll send us the money, which, given as tight as the budget is, as Mark had just said, it's a good time to get a little bit of extra money from them. So we picked our spot pretty well on this one.
It saves some response projects too. So I'll ask that the board put those resolutions on Thursday night, Mr. Chairman, so we can send those down to the state and pay them back up here to us. All right.
This is a different one, but you've already got this part too. Okay.
That's part two. All right. Approved replacement of Fannin County High School FRP hardware. I don't know what FRP hardware is. Who's it?
FRP are the new doors. It's fiberglass reinforced plastic. It's the new doors we put in the commons area on. Stanley Products put them in 7-8 years ago. The doors are fabulous. The hardware they put on them, which we didn't know at the time because it was our first foray into this, was not like it should be. It's not what we use now. They're starting to fail. So it's going to be replacing all of the panels and replacing the door closures to bring those up to what we're currently using. And it's just about $25,000, but it'll be the old gym lobby, going from the old gym lobby into the science wing and the commons area doors, all of those in there. Replace all those cylinders so they'll last another 10 to 15 years. The doors are good, it's the hardware that's the problem.
Okay, so Mr. Chair will answer that, and I assume that would be our SPOS.
Correct.
And if you remember, last time, Mr. Chairman, we laid board policy DJED bids and quotations on the table for public review. And basically, we are changing the wording where bids between, where the board requires us to bid starts at $50,000. We have said we would follow state bid practices. Thing with state bid practices, they kick in at $100,000. There's several steps you have to do. You got to advertise for 28 days for state bid. You got to take out legals in your legal Oregon County. So there was unnecessary things in there that were actually slowing us down and costing us money. So we just wanted to say we would bid over $50,000 and drop the state bid portion of it, follow the state bid guidelines. We just felt like that really wasn't necessary. It still did. Don't have 28 days, just don't have to advertise. Of course, we'll still put it out on the internet and those types of things. But we won't have to pay for that. They changed a little bit of wording down here about programs and licensing. And because of the way title and school nutrition, they don't necessarily bid. What is it?
I have to have a procurement policy for Title I.
Okay, and you do
We
too,
have a
right?
procurement policy now.
So we exempted those programs that had to have a procurement policy. Basically, that's it. So we would ask the board, we heard nothing about from the public about this. And I'll just remind the board, this was a policy that the board put in place when I became superintendent, because I felt like we just needed more time controls on how we did and how we spent what the board needs going on, so that we can get predicaments like other people at the time. So that's why we want this on the table. So this is our own policy, and we are modifying. So I asked the board to approve that on Thursday night. All right, this is approved feed fan and high tunnel greenhouse project. Connie Galloway contacted me. They had cleared the creek. They had gotten with some agencies to clear the creek and put a boulder in and do several things down on the farm property. And she said they had an opportunity to have a high tunnel greenhouse placed in there. So when I talked to her, I said, so explain to me what this is, Connie. And it is a greenhouse that stands taller than like the one at West Fannin, because what we're going to do is we're going to grow crops on the ground inside this one. gonna have tables. So basically what they're gonna do is they'll allow them to start some things earlier and grow some things later. I think it's a good plan because honestly, I asked Connie and Galloway, their knowledge of these types of things, if they would help us with our STEM projects out of West Fannin, those types of things. So she said she would. So we're gonna go up and meet, me and her are gonna meet, and Robert's gonna come, Robert Nixon's gonna come, and we'll go down there and look at some of the projects she's undertaking. But she did ask if the board so wanted, would they approve for them to put the greenhouse in. I think it's a good plan.
So cost, no liability or anything.
Particularly if they work in conjunction with our STEM project.
And she said they would be more than happy. So I think this will be a good thing. I think somehow, Mr. Chairman, this company no cost to them too. I think it works some type of grant or somehow to do that, so it's not costing them anything. I think it'll be a different type of greenhouse from ours, and I think it might give us a little insight into what we're doing, especially with their enthusiasm and their help to our program. I think it's going to be a good situation. So I would ask that the board approve that on Thursday night. As you remember, we tried to shouldn't this be salvage?
Yes, it
If
should.
their intent is to get rid of them, yes.
Because they attempted to surplus and there were no bids. So at this point, the request is for the items to be salvaged.
Okay, what they've done is they put they have put the results of trying to surplus, and as you can see, we had no bids at all. So this time, they need to request a salvage and get it on this agenda item. There's no salvage.
Okay, I'll make a note.
I think we just need to ask Denise to change it, don't we?
Well, I think the intent of this was to show that there were no bids received.
Right.
Add an
Then we
agenda
need to-
item.
But we need to ask salvage.
Just do it in
Right,
one
just
step
change
and
the
save
agenda
it.
item to approve Fannin County Middle School salvage.
Annual school council reports. The reason that Miss Painter is not with us this morning is she's at West Fannin's.
School governance.
Yeah, y'all can tell I'm rattled. I'm off this one. I apologize. This is the last time we'll see annual school council reports. As you know, the charter system has antiquated the school council. Now we have school governance. Miss Painter's not here. She is observing West Fannin school governance meeting, which right now is meeting at the same time the board is. She says that will go out of rotation, and eventually they'll be meeting at different times, so she'll be able to be here. But she missed the first one. Asked me yesterday what did I want her to do, stay here or go to that. I said, since you're not going to go to West Fannin, so she go and put eyes on it. So that's where she is this morning, and I'm sure she'll have a report before we go on Thursday night with that. We will continue to collect school council reports and have those to the board. That's something the board asked to see, but keep in mind, this will be the last one you see. Local board training.
Okay, this is just a review of the topics that we had for choices for our training. When we talked last month, we talked about using the October visit to go out and observe STEM at West Fannin Elementary, and that we would use the November meeting for the required charter meeting for the board as part of your training processes. When we contacted Martha Greenway, who's the lady who's been in charge of training the school governance teams, her available date was in October and not November. So since this was a training we had set up, we just decided that we would trade those two, and Martha Greenway will be here Thursday afternoon to do the charter system meeting with the board, and then we will use the November meeting to go visit the STEM program at West Fannin.
And we're killing two birds with one stone here. It is required that we have this training as a charter system. But we can also use this as part of board training. The reason that we felt it was important to have Martha Greenway in here is she's a person who has spent several days this summer training our school governance team, so we felt like that would be a real seamless way to train, so that we don't have one trainer that said something over here and one over here saying something else, so we think it'd be an advantage to have Ms. Greenway in, so that's why we felt.
Of course, I've slept since the last meeting. Did we establish a date for the November meeting?
Yes, we did. And that one, I'll go back and verify that, I believe that one takes place on the work session day, but I will verify that before we meet on Thursday. And Justin Old will be here Thursday to facilitate the training with Martha Greenway. But yes, it does serve dual purposes, and he was more than willing to gear the training for board roles and responsibilities to support this.
We got personnel. I'll give the board a minute to review. Do we know if there's going to be any changes to personnel sheet?
There's going to be recommendation one, I know of.
Okay. As always, I'll defer to the board.
Good. Okay.
All right. School government's team update. Like I said, that's what Ms. Painter is working on this morning. She'll have that for you on Thursday night. And we've got superintendent's comments, board members' comments, and then we adjourn. So let's flip back to today's agenda. And we have a new agenda item on. And that is school happenings. When we were reviewing our board of distinction requirements, one of the things the board felt like that they would like to hear from and what they've enjoyed in the past is hearing from principals, so we are going to make that a new agenda item for our workshop. So with that said, our initial person, our trendsetter here is going to be Ms. Lori Chastain from the middle school.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I appreciate the opportunity to address the board, and I appreciate your continued support of students and staff at the middle school. I'm excited to be able to share some good things that are going on at Fannin Middle School with you. So if you will click us. In addition to 5 academic periods, the first slide was Ashley, is it not? May I move some things on? Okay, we're good. And this is something you probably know. We started a couple years ago, in addition to our 5 academic periods and a connections class each day, our students have 25 minutes of what we call NBI time, and that's needs-based instructional time. And this time is when we do our advisement, our enrichment, our remediation, and our intervention for students. We started this about 4 or 5 years ago because when we talked to teachers about what resources they needed to do their jobs, we always know teachers want resources, they want money, but we decided that even more important than money, they wanted time. So we took away basically 5 minutes from each of our academic classes and built the schedule so that we have a 55-minute class each day, and then we have 25 minutes to best meet the needs of our students. And if you look at our test scores, even though we don't have them for last year, if you look at our test scores over time, you will see that within those subgroups, this extra time each day has really helped us meet the needs of our kids. And it helped us target groups of kids who needed extra enrichment or extra time with particular subjects.
Ms. Chastain, is this at the end of the day?
It's the second period of the day. We looked at doing it at the end of the day, and last year Mr. Sheffy called and said they were going to start something similar. But if we do it at the end of the day, then we really have to eat lunch early because of our connection schedule. So if I do it at the end of the day, there was just no way to make that fit easily without wrecking our lunch schedule.
Y'all start pretty early on lunch already.
We start lunch at 11:10 and we end lunch at 1:10. So there was just no way to do it without really messing up lunch. So that's why ours, that way too, we've got everybody there, and we have some students who are kind of chronically missing the first few minutes of instruction, and their teachers know if they miss something big, they can catch them during NBI time. It's very flexible. If Julie Barnstead is getting ready to go to a district band audition and she needs to pull those students for band, then she can pull them for that. So we need a lot of communication with each other, but we've gotten better at it over the years. and I think it really helps our
Does
students.
this help when a student misses a day or?
Absolutely, it's just prescriptive time for kids. And when we have advisement, thank you, when we have advisement, we don't miss academic classes like we used to. It also, when we started this a few years ago, we talked to our connections teachers, and our connections teachers decided to block our connections classes, and that makes everybody in connections happy except for our music folks. Because music teachers want to see their students every day. That's just part of the discipline of music. So our music teachers would still like to have 2 45-minute connections classes. And we've revisited that every year because it's been a concern. But everybody else is adamant that they love those 9-minute blocks. It really helps classes like technology and art and those people that want to do big projects. Our ag program. Excuse me. Okay, this is not my clicker, so I'll try. I missed the Teacher of the Year banquet because I was at a test training session for MUC. But if you haven't had a chance to come out and see Ashley Harrington teach middle school PE, I hope you will come watch Ashley Harrington teach middle school PE. I don't know that I've ever worked with a teacher who was more passionate about what he or she does than Ashley is. And she has redesigned our whole PE program. We are a CrossFit Kids certified PE program. And Ashley's aim when she came to our school and became the PE teacher was to allow every student to participate in PE every day. She has a child with some orthopedic impairments. So when we had students who didn't feel well, of course if they're sick they don't have to participate. But kids with broken arms, she adapts the program so that they can participate if they want to, if the parents and doctors agree. Nobody has to change clothes. She tells them when they get dressed in the morning, if they got on blue jeans, to see if they can do a squat in their blue jeans, and if they can, then they're good for PE. And for middle school kids, having to go in that dressing room and change clothes in front of other kids is horrifying for most of our kids. That's why our kids didn't want to take PE, boys and girls.
I'd say I taught her long time ago, and she was always intense on PE and basketball. I mean, she was focused, even then.
And this year we have Chris Thigpen, who is our boys PE teacher. I don't know if you've met Coach Thigpen, but he is just as passionate about his influence on young men and helping them become good men in our community and good fathers and good business people when they grow up. And so together, our PE program and the influence it has on our students as people, not just as PE students, is amazing. So I hope you guys will come over and take a few minutes and watch our PE program, because it's just amazing. It's not just dodgeball every day.
It's probably more valuable there than any place in the school system.
Well, our custodians can tell you how it's changed kids. Our ladies in the cafeteria can tell you how it's changed kids. It's just amazing, the influence Ashley has had on our school. We're also working on SPLOS and STEM initiatives. As you know, we got 2 more VEX robots yesterday. We have some Lego robots already. So in the top picture, you can see the Lego robots. And I don't know how to use this as a camera. Oh, all right. So this is our Lego robot up here. And then here are some students who are also working in a science class to put some things together. And then this is one of our parks. We have a lot of iPads at the middle school that you guys have approved through us, through either technology or through SPLOS funds, through STEM. This is one of the carts we purchased because we had our iPads in milk crates. We had designed some rig your own charger stations. And so these funds have allowed us to buy these crates, these stands that keep our iPads safe and help us have them ready to go every day. And that's so nice. It's a luxury, but it sure is a nice luxury to get them ready for class every day. So can you click on this? This is a robot, even though it just looks like some kind of little car that kids can program and make this robot do whatever they want it to do. We're just learning how to do some real basic programming with it. Ms. Walton, can you click inside that box and make that little video? It's a real short little video for you guys.
Can I make this suggestion while you're doing that?
Yes, sir?
You know, you're talking about the box down there at stores though.
Yeah.
That's actually a money saver.
Because it's protection.
Sometimes when you email.
Well, the thing you gotta understand, there's a lot of
Okay, that's fine.
infrastructure, we have to charge all those things every day too, that helps us with that. Everybody always talks about the charging and cases and those types of things, there's a lot of infrastructure to support that.
But Mary Ann said the video probably didn't email it to me, you know, for the board presentation. But if, and that's another time saver for teachers, because if it's not ready to go when the teacher needs it, then that's a waste of the teacher's time, a waste of instructional time. Dr. Watney supported us with a lot of connectivity issues, because when we first started using wireless technology at the middle school 7 or 8 years ago, we found out that teachers were so frustrated because our wireless didn't work, that they didn't even want to use anything. So as he supported us with building up our wireless infrastructure, that's really helped teachers because they're braver now about using technology. We have 11 teachers scheduled to attend the Georgia STEM Forum in Athens. I think the elementary schools all have folks going as well. We went to this last year and it was just amazing for teachers to get to go to hands-on conferences and see what they could do in their classrooms that were STEM activities. We have 2 computer labs that we put in this year on our 8th grade hall. As you know, we're going from paper pencil test to online testing with our 8th grade students. Last year, we divided our 8th grade in half. We tested one group in the morning, one group in the afternoon. So we had to keep those 2 groups of students completely separate all day long for every day that we tested. Which is so easy with 8th grade counts. So we've added 2 computer labs so far this year in our language arts classes, and we had a parent conference yesterday with a student who's new to our system, and the parents were like, our child hates language arts. Why does he have such a good grade in language arts? Do y'all not have a language arts program? And so Ms. Dixon talked to his parents, and when they saw her classroom, they were just amazed. They could not believe that he got to type his papers, and they thought that was just amazing. We are adding reading classrooms. The furniture is supposed to be delivered today, and then once we get the electricity in place and get those machines installed, hopefully within a couple of weeks, we'll have 2 more computer labs on 8th grade hall. So that will give us a total of 7 labs in our building.
Which are easier to follow the instructions to take the test, on a computer or on paper?
Students will tell you absolutely online because they see one question at a time. You know, if you're taking a paper pencil test, you can kind of see through the pages. So you know, as you're looking at that test book, on the back of this page is a big old diagram of a butterfly. So while you're trying to read this big 3-paragraph thing and answer 7 questions about it, you're thinking, oh, there's a big diagram of a butterfly on the next page. I wonder what that's about. And so when they can just see one question at a time, they say it's so much easier to attend to. Plus, we don't have all that passing out and taking back, all those security issues with teachers that we all just cringe over. Not that we do anything wrong, but we're just, Mr. Hubbard might call me the test consequence, please, because we want to be so careful with it.
Can you know, back in my day of testing, you know, if there was one that had me stumped, I would go on to something else and come back to it. Can you do that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Before they submit their answers, the test is divided into 2 segments. So before they go from section 1 to section 2, it tells them if there are any that are missing. And they can either highlight questions they want to go back and review later. But if not, the test catches it for them. It's pretty user-friendly. For 8th grade students, maybe not for them. And Ed Hamby, of course, is so supportive for our faculty and staff. Like I said, when he was hired, we had 1 computer lab for him to support. So now we have 7 computer labs for him to support, plus all the iPads in our building. And he still does it with a smile on his face. This summer, Mr. Henson was kind enough to see that we had new cafeteria tables. And I don't know if you ever saw our old cafeteria tables, but they were rough. And so these new ones are wonderful. They have the seats attached. They're really easy for our custodians to hold up and move out of the way and keep our cafeteria clean. It's just so nice. It's really made our custodian's jobs easier, and our kids love it because they're not so jammed in together in the cafeteria.
Benny Cross said to tell y'all, thank you so much. He pulled me aside down there, and said, "I'm here." So these tables have made life so much easier for us to meet this door.
And Mr. Hubbard helped us with fencing along our football field and then a gate. For a long time on camera, we've been able to see people who were making use of our back parking lot in the evenings. And we've also had people who want to pull around during football practice, and we're not leaving our football practices in a safe way with kids following around. So having this gate and being able to lock down some access keeps everybody safer at football and well at soccer practice as well. So that's a safety issue that really is nice for our school system. Really is nice for the middle school. Last Wednesday, we had our signing ceremony for our REACH scholars. These are 8th grade students, and each one of these students now has signed that they will pledge that they will do certain things, and they're basic things that we expect of all of our children. And they have been awarded $20,000 in scholarships to attend any Georgia Hope 2 or 4-year college. There was a lady there from the Georgia Independent College System, and she also named many private colleges that will match this. Also, all of the Georgia University level colleges will match this. These students will attend those schools. And it's already made such a difference in the way these children carry themselves in the hallway.
This is big.
Just an amazing day for our
We'll talk
children.
a little bit more about it on Thursday night. This is a big deal. And the middle school, I would brag on more middle school today. Wonderful job. Of this program. It was a touching program, and it really made you feel good about it.
Well, Mr. Nissen said it best. I mean, that's the reason we all went into education, was to make a difference in the lives of children. That's the reason you guys do this as well. But all of these children just walk down the hall a little bit differently. And Ms. Walton talked to their parents, and I'm sure she will share with us, but their parents could not understand that college is taken care of.
We're going to enjoy these kids. We've got several people already lined up, ex-educators and people that work in the community have agreed to give their time 2 times a month for the remainder of these children's career in our school system. Work and make sure that they're successful. They don't have this chance to accomplish tremendous support.
These are our recipients. Denise Messer was kind enough, and you can't see them well enough in here, but I'll make sure that you get to see one in person. She made them these amazing shadow boxes that have their names on them and class of 2020, and then some pictures the parents have provided of these students when they were younger and their class picture from this year when they were chosen. And the kids they're just treasures for those students.
Those are going to hang on the wall.
I think we're going to send these home with the students, or we're going to create one tribute box to hang at the middle school, and it will accompany these kids when they go to the high school. And then each year we'll create a different tribute box, and it will go on to the high school. So eventually Eric will have 4 tribute boxes at the high school for each class and for each scholars. And their first activity is on October 26th. They will attend a field trip with Jill P. to the University of North Georgia, where she will start talking to them and kind of showing them the mechanics of applying to college, what college looks like, going to class at a college, what the registrar's office looks like, what the cafeteria looks like. That's just their first big field trip.
North Georgia's a wonderful partner too. Just having them in the community is a great thing. They had several representatives at the sign and said they're very aware of what they do.
I just wish we could do this for all the kids, you know. But it's a start.
I agree with you. Our Veterans Day program is Friday, November the 6th at 1 p.m. That's a huge thing at Fannin Middle School. I know all the schools participate, but it's almost like Christmas at the middle school. We start planning for this before school starts. And because our veterans are our next door neighbors, you know, they come up and visit us a lot and do a lot of things for our school. They're just our neighbors and they take good care of us. And so we're already looking forward. They've already been by to visit and make sure they know when our day is. They pay us a little bit. And so we're looking forward to Veterans Day. I know you guys can't be at all the programs, but we want you to be at ours. Dr. Neely's going to be our guest speaker this year. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you so much.
All right, well, that's it, Mr. Chairman. This side table has no more. Anything else?
All right, we have a motion to, that's second.
Second.
All in favor?